So we're going to talk about what the market is doing right now in 2026 because it is so much different than where we've been. The housing market is always changing, and yet it is much different from where we've been in 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. We find ourselves in a much different market. So we're going to talk about how it's behaving for buyers, how it's behaving for sellers, and whether or not, in what part of the market is moving towards you or potentially away from you, and what part of the market might just kind of be slowing. I'm going to share with you a couple things that are happening kind of on the kind of national level, if you will, and then we're really going to talk about what's happening on our local level. And with Price Group, as most of you know, we service the Greater Louisville area into Elizabethtown. We extend into Lexington and also Southern Indiana. So the local data that we're going to be discussing tonight is that Greater Louisville area that, again, kind of hits all those areas, especially into E-Town and Southern Indiana. Now, the way real estate works is that while we're going to talk about our local data in terms of our marketplace, your specific community and your specific neighborhood also has its own market trends and market behavior. So when it comes to specifics as it pertains to your property or property that you might be interested in, that's a really great opportunity for a one-on-one conversation so we can even take the overall data that we're talking about today and then really drill it into what exactly you're looking at, all right? I'm also going to share with you some ways that I know everybody in this room is kind of in different places. I know some of you are getting ready to make a move imminently, and we're so excited to be able to help you with that. Some of you are maybe thinking about it or information gathering. Some of you might be forecasting just kind of a life change. Come on in, find a seat, make yourself comfortable. We've got 2 seats right here. Welcome, welcome. Some of you might just kind of be weighing some options and information gathering, maybe anticipating a life change in the next year or 2. Because I've been in real estate, this is my 20th year, and there's one thing I know for certain, and that is sometimes real estate comes along because we want it to. And sometimes what happens is there's a life event in our world, and then real estate comes along with that. All right? So wherever you are in that phase of thinking about property or maybe thinking about your current equity or thinking about potentially buying your first property, my goal is that there's a takeaway for you tonight that gives you some extra insight. Fair enough? Yeah? Okay. And before we get started, I want to introduce the Price Group to you. I think most of you know at least 1 or 2 of us. And then we are so lucky and privileged to have 2 really fantastic vendor partners with us. Ryan Olson with River City Home Inspections, who takes fantastic care of our clients when you need inspections. We'll talk about that more in a second. And then also Nick Nunley is here with us, right in front of me, thank you, who is with State Farm and is just such a great resource for our clients when it comes to all things insurance. So want to make sure you get to meet them tonight. So I'm Emily Price with the Price Group, and this is my business partner, Ben Price, and husband. Awesome, and I think most of you all know us. You probably also know Wade Williams, my fantastic business partner here, and Ruth Gettler, my fantastic business partner over there, and then Brad Parsons, another fantastic partner of mine. And then for those of you who have worked with us before or who potentially are working with us in the future, our other partners, Amy and Trixie and Julia, couldn't make it this evening, but they'll be fantastic people whenever you need our assistance that you'll see come along the journey with you too. So with that, I would like to introduce to you Ryan real quick before we get started. So, ta-da, Ryan. There you go. Yeah.
I'm Ryan Olson. I am the owner and operator of the City Home Inspection. I am the sole home inspector, so if you call River City Home Inspection or get on our website, book an appointment, you get me. I've been doing this for approximately 15 years. In addition to general home inspections, I offer some other services that go along with it. I do sewer scope inspections, radon testing. I also have drones and moisture meters. I have all the toys, as my wife would call them. I call them tools, she calls them toys. But in addition to the general home inspection, you get a number of other services offered to you. If you want to talk home inspections, I'll be here for quite a while, so just come on over. You're not bothering me at all. That's why I'm here. I'm here for you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan.
May I ask,
Yes.
you talk about pre-listed inspections. Why that
Sure,
would be important?
sure. I also offer pre-listing inspections. So they're not as common in this area. They should be, but they're not. What that is if you guys are thinking about putting your home on the market, I'll come in and do an inspection for you. I offer all the services I just mentioned, and what you'll get is a HTML or a web-based report or PDF. You can flip it over if you want to print it out for any reason. That's important in this market because you want to be aware of what's going on in your home before you put it on the market. If you get a buyer coming into your home with their home inspector, they may point out a lot of things that had you known you could have fixed or had a contractor address prior to listing your home. So that eliminates a lot of the headache for you guys and for the agents here.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest issues sometimes we deal with is surprises, right? Nobody wants to be surprised if you're selling a house, and Ryan's really helped take that out of the equation.
Also, when you're in a position of wanting an inspection, whether it's on the property you own or a property you're going to buy, one of the things that I really enjoy about Ryan's services, and I know many of you do as well, is it's just a buffet of options. So you have so much choice with what degree, like he said, he's got so many different services. So if you've got a concern or a question about a property, he almost always has the ability to find the answer. So thanks so much for taking great care of our people, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. And I'd love you go. Yes, please.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
As far as you do the inspection, the pre-sale inspection, if you find errors, do you make a punch list and say to fix these errors, it's going to cost this dollar, this dollar, this dollar, and we also provide a service, a contractor, a subcontracting service to make those repairs.
I generally don't put a dollar amount on the repairs because I don't know who the contractor is, or there could be underlying issues that aren't visible to me. But you're right, I do put together a list and prioritize that do-it-yourself or FYI items. There's some marginal items that will be listed in a different area. Marginal items being items that aren't working like they should, be repaired, that are functional. And I also have another category of safety concerns that should be addressed. Safety concerns being everything from the missing seam detector, smoke detector, all the way to carbon monoxide or acid, or expensive items. But to answer your question, yes, it is a punch list of sorts. It's digital and it'll be laid out for you. If I find a problem with your air conditioner or furnace, I'll say, hey, let's get the HVAC contractor. I always recommend professional contractor.
But you will recommend someone.
No, I don't recommend a specific contractor. That's kind of a conflict of interest for me because I don't want to say, you need a new roof, here's my buddy's phone number.
And I can. That's also where the price group can step in to help you. Yeah, we have such a fantastic network of trusted vendor providers. So anything that comes up in your process, we're so if Ryan flags something, hey, we should look at that. We then kind of can partner with you to find the person to dive into that. So you don't have to go on the hunt for that by yourself. That's a great question. Thank you. That's right. Thank you so much, Ryan. Awesome. I want to introduce you guys to Nick. Nick is a fantastic insurance resource for anyone here, all of our clients. I'll let you kind of give them the rundown. I know you do a variety of insurances.
That's right. So I just want to thank the partners as well. I've used both of them personally. Both of them were fantastic to work with, not only Ryan, but Ben as well. So cannot speak highly enough about them. I'm really excited to work with everybody here. And I think there's probably more than a few different ways that a State Farm agent such as myself could help. We talked about life events and, kind of the things that come along with it. Homeowners insurance generally is one of them. One of the biggest and probably most important things that I feel like I can help with is explaining. Really walking you through scenarios of how this could happen, how this could not happen. There's a lot of perils or losses that people normally think of, such as a tornado or a fire, but there are a lot of other things that may or may not be covered that most people would want to be aware of before purchasing their homeowner's insurance policy. I'm really thorough in making sure that, hey, I'm not a high pressure sales tactic necessarily. It's, hey, here's all the options. You tell me what you do and don't want. I'll walk you through it. And then whatever fits your needs is gonna be okay with me. There's a lot of other things that I could help with as well, such as life events. You may need, life insurance where if something were to happen to you that, your spouse or significant other could stay in that property for you. But again, I know we've got chips, queso, margs, don't want to take up too much of your time, but again, all things insurance, you guys know, auto insurance especially, it's kind of where we start at, but a plethora of things that we could do outside of that. So anything insurance related, I would be happy to help. And also kind of like Ron had said too was, no throwing mud at any particular company, but like Progressive, for example. We're not a 1-800 number. You're gonna talk to the same 2-3 people in the office. I live in Louisville. If you had a storm, I probably also felt some of that just like you did. So again, being a local presence, being somebody that you can count on, living in your neighborhood.
Awesome.
So I personally moved, just for nature of moving. I was in USAA prior military. I had them for 24 something years. They moved everything over and it was very seamless and very helpful and actually saved me some money. So
Yes, thank you for that. We appreciate that. All right. Okay, so we're going to dig right in. And so again, I'm going to be covering some information I'm going to kind of go quickly. So again, with a lot of the stuff I'm going to share with you, we could totally deep dive. But I'm going to kind of stay a little high level, or at least challenge myself to. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of any and all questions you have for me or anybody at the Price Group, because we absolutely love answering your questions. So I don't want any of your questions to go unanswered. And a lot of times when we start talking about market values and how it pertains to equity and so forth, it's those conversations are sometimes, often the specific questions are sometimes best answered in a one-on-one context, depending upon your specific neighborhood and your specific house. And so, I want to make sure that we get your questions answered. And what might happen this evening is that the conversation tonight kind of prompts some time for us to have some one-on-one conversations after this. So we are here to answer your questions. You ready to rock and roll?
Let's rock and
We're gonna
roll.
have so much fun. All right, here we go. We're gonna open up this lovely Price Group folder you have. So on the left-hand side, if we do a great job for you this evening, which is my goal, then I would love it if you would take 2 seconds just to scan this little QR code and let us know you enjoyed the event. That would be really helpful for all of us. So thank you very much. All right, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go into the data that's on the left-hand side of the folder. Okay, so I'm gonna talk you through it. The first graph that we're looking at is going to talk about home sales, and we're talking about in our country. So we're going to start nationally first, then we're going to drill it down. I'm going to call out a couple things that here's what I want you to know. This is showing that what we're measuring the total annual single family home sales. So this is not taking into account commercial buildings or condos. And what this is mainly communicating to you is it's communicating the number of the pacing of transactions that's happening in our country year over year, so you can see how they're trending. So you can, right now, if you talk to, not to plant any ideas in your mind, but a lot of times if I just kind of talk to a member of the public, I'm finding that a lot of people are thinking that our market is kind of slowing right now. Okay, so and it feels that way, because of the absorption rate, and we're going to talk more about that in a minute. But what I want you to see is that actually, in terms of the number of buyers and sellers that have transacted in our country over the past 3 years, it's basically been steady Eddie, 4.1, 4.1, 4.1. Now this year, where do we project 26 to be? We're projecting 26 is going to have a little bit more of a pep in its step in the market, but barely, okay? So we think that there's going to be a little bit more activity as comparison to where it was last year nationally. Now, what I also love to show people is that if you look on the second graph here, we tend to think, how many of you would say, oh, the late spring or early summer is the best time to sell your house. Raise your hand if you've ever heard that before. Almost everyone, all right? But here's what is so factual about it. I want you to look at what actually happens in terms of home sales. Now, of course, this is across the nation. When you plot it out monthly, okay? So monthly across the year. So the quick takeaway from that is that there's a slight little ebb and flow, but do we see any month in the year that goes to zero? Absolutely not. Do we see any month of the year that like cuts in half? No. So the takeaway from that to know just generally with real estate historically is that there are opportunities in every market. There are sellers, because remember what we talked about at the beginning is that real estate often comes along with life events, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't get to really like start the top of my year and be like, I would like a life event in this month, but not this month. Like, I don't generally get to predict it. So, and I imagine you don't either. And so life happens for everyone all the time. And so with real estate, what that means is that it brings opportunities to the market all the time for both buyers and sellers. So I think that that's a really important thing to take note of. Now, if we go to the next page, this one, I love what this graph tells us right here. This is really important. So we're going to talk about home prices here. All right. So when you look at the average 50-year trend for our country, okay, real estate on average, if you take in all last 50 years, it appreciates in the United States about 4% a year. Some data is going to tell you 4.4%, but it's about 4% every single year. So just the sheer fact of buying a property, okay, basically the trend line is going to make that investment worth 4% more in the following year just because you own it. Now, I'm not going to squirrel out on this, but also just this little side note here is let's also keep in mind that each year you own it, if you have a mortgage, you're paying down what you owe on it. So your equity is growing from paying it down and also from owning it. So obviously I'm a fan of home ownership, and there you go. Okay, so 4% every year. Now, if you look at this graph takes us from 1990 to the projected of 2026. That trend line that you see there, see the line that's like a little ski slope, that's graphing the 4% line. So if it hit 4% every single year, the bar graph would be hitting that line. Now you can see we had that little period of time between, that lasted about a decade where we were under that trend line of that 4% growth. Now, we also know if you've been noticing or that the past couple years, we have seen really since 2020, we have closed out almost every single year with an equity growth rate of higher than the average of 4%. We had some markets around 21 and 22 that were showing upwards of 18% nationally, I'm talking about 23% in 1 year. That's a lot of growth in 1 year. Now, however, I want you to look at where 26 is projected to be. 26 is still projected to have positive, properties are still going to appreciate this year. All right, so even if you start feeling like this market is behaving differently, and in a lot of cases it is, in that not every house is getting 10 competing offers like we were a couple years ago, okay? So that's where you might be feeling the difference in behavior. It is not that the property values are going backwards. We're returning to the trend line. So even with a bit of appreciation that we're going to see this year, it's still positive. And what's important to note is it's still 7.4% above the trend line. So when is the best time to buy a house? 10 years ago or today, when you talk about it from an investment standpoint. And what this graph shows is if you hold the property, it is flat out just going to make money for you. So that's a good thing to note, whether you're sitting on the buyer side thinking about investing or you're sitting on the seller side thinking about your equity and what you're going to do with that.
Hey, can I just add one note to that?
100%.
So if you guys are looking at that little trough, many of you probably lived through that trough, that little recession we had. And so one item to note is while there's an overcorrection right now, you're seeing in the last 3 or 4 years, we're still about 1 million new homes short nationally. So there is still a pressure on the market. There is a gap that hasn't been filled. to that end.
Yes,
So that's
in
part,
terms
that's
of
part of the
inventory.
reason that's contributing to this over performance that we're seeing here presently.
Correct. Yes. So when we had that back in that 08, 07, 08, 09 time, the market, one of the specific markets that was hit the hardest was new construction. So builders and so forth. So the people that got hit the hardest in the whole real estate world were the builders, and we weren't for 10 straight years in our country, we didn't have as many home starts as we needed to keep up with the population. So just as Ben said, that has produced a big shortage of inventory, and that is why you still feel the market pressure, 100%. So when you look at the second graph on the bottom, home prices, this of appreciation, so this is kind of saying the same thing but in a different visual way. All right, and so what I love about this display of the information is that when you're thinking about investing your money in real estate, or if you've got a lot of equity right now and you want to reinvest it in a different avenue with real estate, when you look back to 1990, there have only been 5 years where the appreciation has been negative since 1990. So that's a pretty good track record for real estate in our country. The other thing that I want to bring note to is, yes, 4% is the average, and this year it's projected to be at 2%. So still positive, technically a little under the average, but still above the 50-year trend line. So summary of that, it's still going in the right direction, okay? Now, let's move on through. If you're a person that's like, yeah, but why? Make it make sense. Tell me why. Well, we're not going to belabor the point, but the graph here on the top where it says number 2, home prices, appreciation, historical. It graphs out what that appreciation has done, and it gives you some little notes as to what has happened or what happened to cause that trend in the appreciation in the past. So again, if you're a person that likes to study the yeah, but why, explain it, this kind of gives you the summary in a nutshell, all right? Now, when we go down to the graph at the bottom that says number 4, it technically says inventory, but here's how I want you to think about it, because one of my favorite things to talk about in real estate is absorption rate. I'm going to talk about that more in a second. And if you follow along with us on our YouTube channel, we do market updates every month, and one of the specific things I talk about in that update every month is the absorption rate. So I want you to play that inventory says absorption rate. Fair enough? Okay, so what this is saying is let's talk about what the absorption rate is. The absorption rate is a measurement, how I define it in my head, of supply and demand. Okay? So and we all know that any market, especially the real estate market, is governed by supply and demand. So supply in real estate is the number of sellers, represented by the number of properties that are on the market. That's also sometimes called inventory. How many homes are there for sale? Demand is represented by the buyers. Technically, how many people are making offers, going under contract, and actually buying the houses. So when you look at absorption rate, it's a measurement between supply and demand. It's a measurement between how many properties are available for sale today and how many properties actually sold. What it technically says is and this never ever ever happens, but let's just play like it did. If we were freeze the market, no more listings can come to the market, no more for sale signs can hit the ground. The inventory is what we have. No new sellers can enter. What the absorption rate says is if the buyers continued at the pacing that they're behaving at right now, how long would it take for all the property to be bought? That's what it measures. So now what does that tell you? So academically in real estate, if you want to put your real estate academic hat on, what it says is technically anything where we have a 5-month absorption rate or less, that's going to be considered a seller's market. When you're cresting that 5, getting into that 6-month area, that's a balanced market. A balanced market lasts for about 30 seconds, okay? So you don't want to wait for the balanced market because you'll go to step into it and then it will have passed you. So the balanced market is brief. And then on the other side of the balanced market, when we get an absorption rate of 7 months or higher, that's when we go into the buyer's market, okay? Now, that absorption rate, here's what I also want you to think about. Even in Greater Louisville, the absorption rates can look different in different price points, okay? So for example, the $300,000 price point is gonna have a different absorption rate than the $1.5 million price point because it's a measurement of supply and demand, okay? So what this tells us right here is that nationally, we are projected to round out 2026 at about a 4.2 absorption rate this year, which is still technically a seller's market, but it's like a seller's market that's like is strolling along. Okay, fair enough?
Can I speak to that for 2
100%, yep.
So on average in Louisville, and if we're talking about the market that we serve, we're sitting right about 3.33 per months right now, as of this Monday. So in comparison to the national average, from a seller's perspective, that's actually more favorable to sellers, right, within the inventory. Now, what I want to say, be very clear about, if you think about seller markets and buyer markets, what we look at is if the inventory is at 1 month, the sellers have a real type strong power, right? You saw that. What market did we see that in, where there was like 2-month inventory? That was that 3% market where people were offering $50,000 over asking price. That's a lot of seller power, right? That is not the same seller power as a 4-month inventory. Even though it's a seller market, you might be negotiating 95% of asking, 93% of asking.
Negotiating repairs.
Still in favor of that. Now, for anybody that lived in the short sale days of 2009-8, a buyer's market, right? When it's 7, 8-month, 12-month inventory, that's when you see a buyer come in and say, I'm going to offer you $100,000 less than what you're asking. And they'll negotiate that. Whereas if it's more closer to 7, then you're looking at maybe it's 85%, 80% of market. So I think it's important you see that seller power shifts even within the balance of the market, and it just gives you insight into if you see a 4-month, don't be expecting a $50,000 cash over asking offer.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
So this next page where it talks about mortgage rates, we'll just keep that real simple because I think we've got some other information for you on that, but that just kind of shows you how that mortgage rate has been trending. Here's the takeaway on mortgage rates for like forever and always at the moment. When you look at the 50-year average of mortgage rates in our country, the 30-year rate on average of 50 years is 7.1. That's the average. We just all, let's face it, have been like massively spoiled in recent history of having, I have clients that had a 2.75 or a 3.0 or a 4.0 or a 4.2. And so sometimes then when you're looking at a 6, it feels different. 100%, 6 is different than 4. And also what to know is that the average is 7.1. So by the law of numbers, any time that you're underneath a 7.1 interest rate, you're below average of the 50-year line of our country. So I think that's helpful to know. Real quick, and we won't spend too much time on this, I just put this in because I find it very interesting and you might too. I like to look at how the affordability moves in our country when it comes to housing. So what this is showing you is it's telling you how much, if you look really small at the key below, it says P&I, that means principal and interest. So you're talking about that principal and interest chunk of your mortgage payment. What the line is showing you is it's showing you what percentage of an American homeowner's total income on average is going towards their mortgage or towards their housing, okay? So you can see how that number has moved. Where it is right now it's at 32%. Okay, that's where it is, or where it's projected to be in 26. So the average American, it's projected that 32% of their annual income is going towards housing. Now you can see that that's trending a bit higher than what the historical average has been between 72 and 23. It was at 27%. And what's interesting is if you look at the average of just the last 25 years, between 2000 and 2024, that it was at 20%. So the affordability, the percentage of money we're spending on our housing is going up. And I just find that interesting. You don't have to. Okay. All right. So we're going to shake off all the national stuff. That's the national stuff. You're like, Emily, you said you were going to talk local. And so, yes, so that sets the context. So now we're going to go into the local space. So again, I'm just gonna say it again because repetition is the motherhood of all mastery. I'm gonna speak right now to the Greater Louisville area, and that's a big area, okay? So we're talking about again, into E-Town, some southern Indiana, all of Oldham, all of Jefferson, into Bullitt, Mountain Washington. We're talking about that area. I want you to know that if you're like, I really want to understand how my specific equity is performing and trending right now, this is going to give you like some predictions and teasers, but the best way for us to do that is for us to sit down one-on-one and do the data on your specific house in your specific neighborhood. Make sense? Okay, so here's what we're going to look at first. This line at this graph at the top, it's looking at two things. I want you to take a look at how they compare. What it's doing is, let me digress and tell you one piece of information here. One of the things that makes the price group different from other real estate agents and companies out there is that we just do not advise or counsel our customers based upon like gut feelings or how we feel or how our last deal went in the market. We're gonna counsel and advise you on fact. That's it. If you ask me a question and I don't know the answer, I'm not gonna fake it. I'm gonna tell you, that's a great question. Let me check that out and I will get back to you. But we are gonna only advise you on fact. So we talk the talk, but we walk the walk, and that means that we have about a 2.5-year track record. About 2.5 years ago at Price Group, we said, you know, what would it look like if we, Price Group, tracked all these different data points every week, no matter what? And we adopted that habit almost 2.5 years ago. So every Wednesday morning, all of Price Group is in a market trends meeting. And we are looking at we look at about 30 different points of data, all kinds of stuff that we're not gonna talk about tonight. But we have every 7 days we're seeing what's changing. And what that does for you guys as our clients in our community is now we have a local factual trend line. And I don't have a crystal ball, but you can kind of, when you know patterns and trends and behaviors, you can kind of start predicting things a little bit, okay? And I think that's a real strength for our clients. So all of this data, that's where it's coming from. It's coming from Price Group's Wednesday morning research. So what I want you to see about this top graph is that we're looking in the Greater Louisville area, we're looking at the relationship over time. So this is, again, about 2.5 years worth of data of sellers to buyers, basically. So blue is saying how many choices are there on the market. All right, so if you're talking to me right now, whether you're a buyer or a seller, we are having a conversation about we're getting ready to go into a season where historically, and there's nothing that says it's gonna go differently right now, more and more people are gonna be coming to the market. Why? Because traditionally sellers think, oh, the spring or the early summer is the best time to sell my house because everything's in bloom and all this stuff. That is true. And you can also see that a lot of people think that way. So as you get later into the spring, competition rises. That's not bad or good, it's just a fact. And if you're a buyer, the choices increase. All right, so that's cool. Now, if you look at the red, that is showing you the number of pending listings. Pending means when a buyer and seller accepts the offer, not when it closes. So pending says, hey, I made you an offer, you accepted it, boom, under contract. So red is showing the pacing throughout the timeline of buyers making decisions, all right? Meaning a seller gets their house sold. So I want you to kind of zero in on, if you look at this graph kind of technically because of how it printed cuts off at February, but if you rewind back to last spring, so if you look back to last March and April, I want you to look at when the gap between the blue and the red was the smallest, and then as it got bigger. That gives you a lot of insight as to whether you're standing on the buyer side or the seller side of the equation. And a lot of times we find ourselves standing on both sides, right? We're gonna sell a house to buy the next one. So this just kind of gives you some good indicators of how it trends. Now, months of inventory at the bottom. Here we go, we come back to my favorite thing, the absorption rate. So I've already explained to you what that means, but now you get to see it on a local level. And just like Ben talked about, we are, and again, the way this printed off, it cut out our March data, but as of Monday, we're at 3.3 for the Greater Louisville area, 3.3 months. So that is trending underneath the national average. Yay, Greater Louisville, all right? So again, the summary of that, still a seller market, but a seller market where there is still negotiations happening, repairs that are safety and functional based repairs are happening, not necessarily cosmetic repairs, those aren't happening. When a seller prices their home correctly to market right now, it is moving quickly, but it's not a market where sellers are setting a new price ceiling. It's also not a market where buyers are coming in and like wheeling and dealing either, all right? It's kind of like everybody's on their best behavior and everybody's getting the win. That's kind of where we are right now. Yeah? All right, moving right along. Okay, if you go to active price changes. So this is showing you, and this is actually not as dramatic as I wanted it to be visually, but trust me, it's a little dramatic. This is showing you that the blue is the active, or is the number of property on the market, and the red is the number of sellers making price changes each week, okay? So the short end of the story is that we are not in a market where a seller can say $2 million, whatever, and it gets 5 offers the next day. The pricing has to make sense for the market. That's the short end of that story. Okay, we are, for the sake of time, I want you to just go ahead and flip to the last page for me. And I want you to look at the bottom graph this is talking about the mortgage rates. So again, I already hit on it, but it's worth bringing it back. We're looking at the one on the bottom. Mortgage rates are a big determinant of affordability, okay? And that impacts both buyers and sellers. And again, this is how our mortgage rate has been trending over time in the past 2.5 years. And you can see that right now it's kind of breathing around 6.0, 5.9. It's kind of in that space. That's a really good space for it to be in. And here's why that's important. We often will think, if you're a buyer, you think about getting pre-approved at a price point. But what is really happening when you're a buyer is you're really getting pre-approved for how much you either can or how much you want to be able to spend each month. The pre-approval price point is representative of the monthly payment, okay? That's what that means. So as the interest rate is lower, the buyer can put more of their money each month into the principal, which means that they can afford more house or a higher price on the house. So when the lower the interest rate goes, and again, we're projected this year to stay like between maybe 5.5 and 6.0. I don't have a crystal ball, but nothing in my world tells me we're gonna see 3.0 or 4.0 again, so don't hold out for that. But just know that when that interest rate even takes a little bit of a breath down, that's a win for everybody, because buyers have more their money goes further, and then that incentivizes and excites them to go out and buy, and then therefore that's a win for the sellers. So actually, as if, one of the things that could happen to our market this spring is if the interest rate even takes like a 1/4 point down, it's gonna bring more buyers into the market, which flips supply and demand, and also could be like very positive for sellers, because it could put pressure back up for the sellers in their favor for pricing. Okay, so that is a huge chunk of market knowledge as quickly as I could deliver it on the national level and on the local level. And I know that I study this all day, every day. So I'm hoping that even though I can kind of like sleep through this stuff, that I've conveyed it in a way that makes some sense and and you can glean some nuggets from it that pertains to you. So in summary, where our market is going this year in 2026 is that the bottom line is people are always asking, like, is it a good time to sell? Is it a good time to buy? Like, when's the best time to sell, best time to buy? Here is the answer for every single market anytime you're gonna ask that question ultimately. The best answer is, I don't know. And I can't advise you of that until we sit down and have a conversation, because the best time for you might be different than the best time for her, because the actual best time for you is going to be dependent upon what's going on in your world, what your goals are, if you have any time constraints or restrictions. We're going to look at the bigger picture and basically say, what is your end game of what you're wanting to do or what you're wanting to accomplish? And then we're going to figure out if the market is supporting you on that pathway right now. And if so, let's put the puzzle pieces together and do it. Or if the market is not supporting you on that pathway, then maybe the answer is to wait or to pause or to keep our eyes set on this timeline rather than this timeline. So truly, the truest answer for, is it the best time? If somebody is answering that for you without having a conversation with you about what's going on in your world, they're not doing you justice. So the best time for you is going to be based upon what's going on in your world. And then with our data and our facts and our expertise and our experience, our hope is that we can bring that whole bit of wisdom around what you need and make a strategy that serves you for what you want. Fair enough? Yeah?
Can I give just
Yes.
a 2nd? Sorry, and I know we got to get to wrap. I think when I look at this market, and it's been kind of this way for a few months now, I look at it as a market that's really healthy for folks who are willing to get in and have a conversation, right? We just came out of a market, the market pressure was driving timeline, it was driving decisions, right? And it wasn't really giving a lot of people options. The only real cash was the king and queen, right? We're not in the market anymore. I think we have good stable rates. They've been stable for several months. That gives predictability, gives confidence. And then we have sellers willing to come into the market, put their house up, and they're having negotiations. And I find that to be very encouraging because it allows you guys to be in charge. The market's not as in charge as it was. So I think for folks who are willing to kind of get in and start rubbing elbows and have these compromises, you're going to have you see days on market go up a little more, right? Things aren't flying off the shelf in hours. We're seeing pricing, depending on where you're at. Your sale to list price ratio might not be 100%. It might be 95%, but we're still having a conversation, and you guys, as a buyer seller, are in charge of the conversation. So I find it to be really, that should build your confidence if you have any desire to do anything this year.
Yep.
So.
Yes. And when you're thinking about potentially buying or selling, whether it's now or 12 months from now or 24 months from now, really what we want to get real clear on is, what do you want, why do you want it, and when do you want it? And if we can understand those three things, and if you're like, I don't know, help me, you talk it through with me, I need to get clarity, I can help you talk it through, we'll get the clarity. But the what do you want, why do you want, when you want it, and when we understand that, we can step in and put the strategy together that serves what you want. Because there are wins to be made all the time. So we're gonna wrap with this, because after all this information, I wanna be able to kind of give you some clarity on what you can do next with it, or how we can help you. So I find that a lot of times people think that the time you call a real estate agent, if you're a buyer, is once you've seen a property hit the market and you're like, I wanna go see it tonight. And then sometimes that's when people call a real estate agent. Call us at that time, but you can call us way before that, okay? And I'm gonna tell you why here in a second. Same thing with sellers. I find that a lot of times when people are like, okay, we've decided to sell, we're ready for photography, sometimes that's when we get the call. Call us then too, but you can call us way before, because I don't want you to cheat yourself from some of the guidance and the wisdom that might help you in making the process so much easier. So what a lot of people don't know, at least in the way the price group works, we are truly way more of a real estate consultant than we ever are a salesperson. A lot of my clients I work with sometimes up to 12 months in advance. Sometimes even longer than that. So you can never, and sometimes people call and they'll say, Emily, I just have a question, but I don't want to bother you. You're never, ever, ever bothering me. My primary job is to answer your questions, okay? So it's never a bother, so just know that, no matter what you might be thinking about in terms of real estate. So here's what I want everyone to know, how we can help you this evening. When you're a seller, I'm gonna talk to the seller standpoint just for a second, then I'm gonna talk to the buyer standpoint. I think to sum it up really nicely, you can leverage us at the price group to help you get the information or get the clarity you need in order to make the decision of whether or not to sell, okay? You do not have to wait to contact us after you've decided. In fact, I think that'd be really hard to make a decision without having an expert from the field giving you the facts in which to make a decision from, okay? So don't make decisions without facts, fair enough? You wouldn't make a decision about your medical treatment without consulting your doctor first, right, in theory? So consult your real estate professional first before you make a decision about what you want to do with real estate. And we have two different ways to help you with that. If you're a seller, and I'm just looking at the top sheet in your folder, we have a trio of services for you that we offer the price group. The first is called the Homeowner's Decision Guide. The second service we have for you is your Market Ready method. And the third service we have for you is our 99-point marketing plan. I'm not gonna go through all of this. You can read this tonight if you're like, oh, I'm just so fired up about real estate, I just want some more information. Okay, I gave you plenty of it here. But here's what I want you to know. If you're in a place where you're like, I don't know, like maybe we make a move, maybe we don't, maybe it's now, maybe it's down the road. Like, but if you're just kind of like, if it's buzzing in your brain, like I just don't know, then the way that we're gonna be able to help you the best is with our service called the Homeowner's Decision Guide. And it's nothing more than that. You can read about it here. I've given you all the information. And it's our service that we provide. It's completely complimentary, by the way, where we're just gonna be here to answer your questions, guide you through what you need to look at in order to make the decision. And if the decision is, yes, then of course we'd love to help you. And if the decision is, thanks so much, Emily, for giving me so much clarity, I'm totally good where I'm at. I'd be like, awesome, I'm glad I helped you get clarity. Perfect, that's a win too. Now, if you're in a place where you're like, all right, I know we're gonna sell, we wanna sell, we have to sell, whatever it might be, but like, I don't even know where to start. I mean, I'm not sure like what I need to do. I don't know how long this is gonna take. I don't wanna be homeless in the transition. I wanna go door to door. I have a 3.0 interest rate right now. How do I go to a 6.0? Like all those things. If you're like, I know I'm gonna sell, but now what? Then our next service is gonna be the best one for you, the Market Ready method. And so that's when we're gonna be able to, and you can read all about that. We're gonna be able to come in, talk with you, and basically put the puzzle pieces together. And then when you're like, let's go, we're gonna sell this house. And I know a lot of you all have experienced this service, some of you multiple times in the past. We have what I'm really proud of. We have what I think is the best marketing plan in the whole market. We have a 99-point marketing plan that just consistently has our sellers winning all the time in list to sale price ratio and in days on market. And most importantly, in your convenience, your lowest stress level possible and your highest comfort level possible in the transaction. Ben and I, as most of you all know, we're the parents of 5 kids. We're a former military family. We know what it's like to move, and especially to move a family. And it's not easy. Nobody wakes up today and be like, you know what I want to do? I think I want to move. Like, it doesn't happen. We know it's hard work. And so our 99-point marketing plan, when you're ready for that, aims to help make it as easy for you as possible. Switch gears real fast to the buyer side. All right. If you're like, I'm thinking about buying, I don't know, maybe now, maybe later, maybe this is your second, third, fourth, fifth home purchase, maybe you're thinking about an investment property, maybe you're building your investment portfolio, maybe you're gonna make your first one, maybe you're a first-time home buyer, wherever you are in the buyer process, if you are thinking about it, we also have that, we have the service for you too, where it's like, well, hey, let's just have a conversation and we can help you make the decision. Okay, so just leverage us to help you make the decision. We love to work in that way, and that's our buyer readiness guide that you can read all about. So we help you make the decision. Then once you've decided, yeah, I'm gonna buy, and we're gonna go down this path, then we have our whole buyer services outline that I've shared with you here on all the different ways that we help you as a buyer. We can talk more about that one-on-one, but here, what it is in a nutshell for our buyers is that, in a nutshell, it's not just about the properties that are on the MLS, okay? One of the things that Price Group does really, really well is that once we understand what you're looking for and what you want in your timeline, we have proven ways of finding properties for you that are not on the MLS either, which means nobody else knows about them. Okay, so that's a great value to you when you are thinking about buying. So in other words, obviously we're always going to look at the MLS for what's on market, and if we don't find it there, we've got other avenues that we journey down, and we'll do whatever it takes to find the right house for you. So that's kind of what that speaks to. So that's it. how'd I do on time? I want to be, yeah, we did good. We did good. I said an hour at 6:34. I want to be so respectful of your all's time. Thank you all very much.
We probably have a small
We do.
questions just due to time constraints on the space that we
Yeah. Yes. Open the floor for questions. What questions do you have? Oh. Have to absorb it. Yes. Yes.
I've been, as a buyer,
Uh-huh.
patiently waiting for some more homes to come to market.
Yep.
We fall some deals. It's not seasonal as I thought it was.
Right?
So can you give us any insight into we're going into March and April?
Yes.
Something to expect or not expect?
Yep. That's a great question. So historically in Louisville, you do see the amount of inventory climb. More sellers are coming in the market. It usually is right around like the beginning of April. And so, I can't say that this is totally like 100% fact, but just in my experience in the market I've worked the Louisville market since 2009. What I think it's attributed to is there's timing around spring break. So, and spring break this year for Oldham, I know, is the first week of April. For Jefferson, same? Okay, thank you. So a lot of times there are homes that list right before spring break because the sellers are like, I'm gonna get it all clean and I'm gonna get out of town. So we sometimes see a surge with that. The next thing that I see impact inventory, and this is different every year, but is the timing of Easter. Easter is like a milestone sometimes for sellers to get their house on market. And then the other milestone that I see a lot, which we could probably all predict, is Derby. So Derby, if you are a seller that is wanting to sell this year-ish, spring/summer, again, we've shown tonight that you can put your house on the market any month. There's always a demand. And also, having your home on the market pre-Derby never hurts you. And I think a lot of sellers know that. So we sometimes see an uptick of energy there because we know that we have people coming into our city for Derby. And a lot of times sellers want to not miss that opportunity. So I would be very excited for spring break, Easter, Derby. Yep, you're welcome.
One note I would say on that buyer conversation that I find in general in working with buyers is that you can get into a home. It's got everything you want, and you love it except for like one or two things. Somebody else loves everything about it.
Yes.
And they will get you.
Yep.
So if a lot of it has to do with like, everybody wants updated this. It's got a new roof, it's got a new HVAC, it's got a new water heater. Yeah, that's really great, but the tile, and I'm like, okay. But if you look at all these big major components, because somebody's going to come in and say, I can do with the tile house. So a lot of it has to do with your personal preference. And then there's always one buyer that wants it perfect spot.
Correct.
I just see that.
Yep.
Yeah, be prepared. That now homes are attractive in different areas. Some people love quaint, older construction, pine, multi-up pine floors and stuff, right? Some people have got to have a brand spanking new, year-old thing in the house. Everything in between. I just think if you're shopping, no matter what you're shopping for, if it pops up for you, it's popping up for someone else. But then also, there's always going to be some competition for the high-end version. You get someone who's brand spanking new, somebody else wants it too. All the way down to the as is.
Showing starting here, all offers due by, which sounds very 2020-esque. And then we see them kind of go, either they go and they still are on market. or
Yep.
We see that they've been scooped up. How often are you all seeing that strategy work? Or if it's like where you have to come in over asking, are you seeing that at all anymore? Or is it like just strong offers in a competing scenario?
So Heather's question is, we have been in markets and where a property will come on market and it'll say, hey, no showings till Saturday and all offers are in on Monday at noon. And so what the seller's doing, smart seller strategy, is they're keeping the window open to create as much interest as they can to hopefully get a multiple bid scenario. That was a very effective strategy in recent markets. Are we seeing people still do that? So the short end of that story is, I'm gonna say, it depends. Okay, but overall, if we were to measure the data, we have far less sellers doing that and a handful of sellers still doing it. Now, is it the right strategy or the wrong strategy for a seller? That's gonna depend upon, like, if we're working with you as a seller, it's gonna depend upon the context, okay? So again, in some pockets of our market, we have very, very, very limited inventory, which means the demand is high. And in some price points in different markets, the amount of homes available at certain price points, the supply of those homes is even tighter. So if a seller is sitting in a position where the demand for their property is exceptionally high, they're gonna have a little more leverage to do something like that. Now, if we were sitting down one-on-one, we would then have a deeper conversation about the buyers who are shopping today and kind of the energy and the attitude they bring to the market. If you're a buyer, you don't love that, is the short end of that story. So one-on-one on a strategy, if I was advising a seller, we'd kind of talk that through. But if you're like, but I'm thinking about buying, what do I need to be prepared for? I think that, will we see sellers in the spring market, you play that card? 100% we will. We will. Do I think every seller is gonna play that card? No. And if you're a buyer, here's the thing. If you're a buyer and you like a property and we find out that there's another offer on it, so it's a multiple bid scenario, congratulations, you have great taste, okay? That's what that means. That's it, that's all it means. From a general standpoint, the number one thing I could advise everyone is sometimes I work with somebody who says, oh, I'm not playing that game, and we back all the way up out of it. Here's the thing. The best way to navigate it is just kind of put your blinders on, right? Decide if your offer, there is a line, and if we work together one-on-one, obviously this is where that like one-on-one counsel comes in. But even if you found yourself competing against another buyer or another 4 buyers, there's still a line where we're gonna together determine at this point, this house with what it offers and its location at this price point is worth it to me and my family, and I would consider it a win. And at this point, just a bit over the line, it's not worth it and it's not a win. And we're gonna honor those lines whether you're the only offer on the property or whether we're competing. Fair enough? Yeah,
I'll be a little more committal to that, and I know Emily has really given some we're not seeing that nearly as much as we did back then. It's not, and if you're seeing the average days on market in a neighborhood north of 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, 21 days, it's kind of a wasted strategy, right? I think sometimes what you're seeing is you're seeing a careful buyer, right? 6% interest is not, that's more table stakes for a buyer, right? So they're taking a little bit more care to step through a property. So we're not seeing that strategy as much.
Correct.
But to Emily's point, there are neighborhoods that are still, they're pending. And if you want to compete in that neighborhood and you want to drive the price, then you might employ that strategy or see that strategy. But I'm not seeing it nearly as much at all.
I think we probably have time for maybe one more question because I really do want to be respectful of everybody's time this evening. And the sun is still shining, so you can get outside in the sunshine.
That's right.
Any other question that I could help anybody with in this context? Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming out so very much. And we'll be reaching out to you guys to see what additional kind of one-off or one-on-one questions you do have. So if you're driving home tonight and you think of something, or if you're like, I did not understand anything she said about that one thing, no worries. No question is a silly question. We'll reach out. I want to make sure you have clarity over anything that we talked about tonight. And again, however we can help you, whether it is a buy or sell, or even if it's just a question, again, we've got this fantastic network of vendor relations. Even if you're like, I'm thinking about new carpet in my house, Emily, do you know somebody I should use? Reach out to me. And any member of Price Group, we want to be of service to you that way. And we really challenge ourselves when we really think about kind of our company and what we're all about, it's really about 4 things, and you can hold us accountable to it. We genuinely want to take care of our people. So just know that that's the person you have in front of you. We also very much want, and hopefully by doing things like this is evident, we want to be the real estate agent for you, of course when you're moving, sure, but in all the years in between, okay? So again, whatever we can help you with, that's what we want to do. We want to do such a great job for you that we earn the privilege to be able to serve you and help you with what you want. We also would really love the opportunity to become the real estate agent for your whole family tree. I'm a big family person, if you know anything about me. That's a big part of my value set. So that spills over into my business genuinely. And then lastly, we make a commitment to every single person we work with, whether it's in an event like tonight, or it's in an appointment, or it's in a transaction, that our pledge is that we deliver 5-star service to every single client, every single time, so that however we're helping you, you have the best real estate experience you can have. And I want you to personally always hold me and our whole company accountable to that. We're not like a 4.5 kind of crew. We're a 5.0, and that's how I want to show up for you. So if we're ever anything less than that, you just give me that feedback. We're going to fix it real fast. Fair enough? So with that, I say thank you very much. If you have a minute to scan that QR code and give us a quick review on this evening, I'd really appreciate it. I'll be reaching out to you to see how we can help, and everybody have a really safe trip home.
Thank you guys
so much
for coming and taking your time. I
Yes,
appreciate that.
thank you.